Breaking news, Johnny, breaking news. The Angels sign Tyler Anderson and address a major need on our roster. So on today's show, where does Tyler Anderson fit in this rotation? Do the Angels have too many lefty starters? And what's the next move? It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And John and I thank you for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Listen, we know that you immediately thought, what do Mike and John think about Tyler Anderson? Well, we're going to tell you in just a minute. But remember, every show is free and available on all platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And the best way to help us out is by giving us a rate and a review. You watching on YouTube, you can also help us out by liking and commenting and subscribing. And make sure you click the bell to be notified every time a new episode drops, because there is good information coming. It's the off season. We signed somebody. Let's get started, Johnny.
Let's go. Good news, everybody. This is Locked On Angels, and it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother, Mike.
You sounded like Terry Smith there. That was a really good Terry Smith. Good news.
Good news.
Like and my name is Mike, and that's my brother, John.
Good news.
Good news.
Oh, I love Terry.
He's
Mike,
great.
I'm wearing this giant A hat because anytime the Angels have a big W, I put on the big A hat. So if you're watching on YouTube, I got the big A hat going on here. If you're listening on the audio side, come on over to YouTube, check it out, and then resume your audio.
It looks good. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Listen, you and I have been fans of this team for a very long time, and I got to say, we've been on a hot streak. We wanted Noah Syndergaard in March of 21. The Angels signed him.
Yep.
I called Tyler Anderson in my GM episode for $14 million. Perry signed him for $13 million. Somebody on Twitter said they had a $1 million off coupon, which I
got a coupon for that.
I got a coupon. Let's see, who was that? That was the Quiet Bear 9 on Twitter said Perry must have clipped a coupon for $1 million off. Thought that was great. So
you did make us lull. We laughed out loud when we read that one. It was great.
Absolutely. Mike, this is big news, and it came rather quickly in the off season, considering today was a day for people to opt out of contracts and become free agents, and there was the Rule 5 stuff happening on Tuesday, so it was a big day, and the Angels signed Tyler Anderson to the Halos, 3 years, $39 million. He turned down the 1 year, $19 and about $500,000 million qualifying offer from the Angels, from the Dodgers, and so the Angels will lose their second round pick to the Dodgers, but Tyler Anderson's somebody I wanted for the starting rotation, and I got him. I got him.
This is just evidence that Perry's listening to the show, Johnny.
I know.
That's, that's a great thing. And he's coming off a really great season, man. He had an all-star season. This was his best season of his career.
Right.
I think being on the Dodgers really helped that, but he did put up some
really
magic,
great numbers.
Baby. 2.57 ERA, 178 and 2/3 innings pitched. Hey, Johnny, remember, I hate to bring this up, but remember when he almost no-hit the Angels back in June? He looked really good in that herky-jerky, like, left-handed rotation and how
it was,
he gets ready.
I believe it was Shohei who broke it up, too, so thank you, Shohei.
It was. Yeah. Now he doesn't have to pitch to Shohei. I'm sure he's glad about that. Tyler is 33 starting next season, and he is going to be locked in until he's 36 years old. So, John, again, you said this was the pitcher that you wanted. So I'd love to hear from you. How do you feel about this move?
Mike, the Dodgers fix everybody who comes through their system. Look at Andrew Heaney. Look at what they did for Tyler Anderson. You and I, before we started Locked On Angels together in April of last year, we did a few episodes of Super Halo Bros in March, getting ready for the season. And we said, hey, Tyler Anderson might be a good option for the Halos. And then the Dodgers got him for $8 million. What a steal. And now look, we've got him for $13 million a year for the next 3 years. That makes me feel good about this rotation moving forward, especially with some of the other guys in that rotation that we have. But I'm feeling good about this, man. I really enjoy the fact that we went out, got down to business. We addressed an area of need for the Halos, which was the starting rotation. We had our core 4, right? We had Ohtani
Yep.
and Detmers and Sandoval and Suarez. But if they're going to continue with a 6-man rotation, they're going to need to add one more to this Tyler Anderson signing. There's talk from Shohei's manager that Shohei is willing to be open to a 5-man rotation.
Oh,
Conversely, Perry Minasian said that, if that's something we'll discuss with Shohei, but you can't fix what's broken. And there's nothing broken about this rotation being on a 6-man rotation. So Shohei is already delivering in a 6-man. It might be concerning to change that up. No pun intended, pitching reference. It might be concerning to throw a change up there because you've already got such good results with him in a 6-man rotation. So it really kind of comes down to what's going to happen. Will they decide to go 5-man, 6-man? I think they should go 6-man. But
I think
about this. Think about this potential starting rotation. You got Shohei Ohtani, the ace of the staff. You got Tyler Anderson coming in behind him. Patrick Sandoval, Reed Detmers, Jose Suarez, and then the 6th man who could very well be somebody like Michael Lorenzen. He'd be a great 6-man. I think he'd be a great option for this rotation. Mike, are you concerned about there being 4 lefties in this rotation?
Yeah, that was the one thing that stood out to me. Anderson, Sandoval, Detmers, and Suarez all are lefties. And so I don't know, John, in baseball world today, if where they throw, what side they throw from is actually something that really, really matters. And with all of the analytics and stuff like that, I'm not sure if that matters.
It's more about who the hitters hit better, really, as opposed to, the pitcher.
I do think that you probably need to have a right-handed pitcher in there for your 6th man. And so if the Angels don't do anything, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but if they don't do anything, I mean, Griffin Canning is now starting his throwing regime.
He's looking good, man. Yeah.
I mean, that could be a guy that could slot in there. I know that Chris Rodriguez was being tested out for maybe starter or maybe a bullpen piece. I think he probably would land more in the bullpen, but we can't forget about Chase Silseth. I mean, Chase is a right-handed pitcher, and Chase, that 6th slot would actually be pretty attractive. If the Angels don't do anything else with the pitching staff, the starters, that 6th slot might be a really good place for him to slide in. Not all the pressure's on him. He's pitching every 6th day.
The
and he gets to learn.
Slot for Silseth. How about that? Say that 3 times fast.
That's not fun to say, but he could slide in right there, I think, and learn from Shohei and learn from Tyler Anderson. I think that they're probably going to put another righty in there. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I also did hear that Anderson actually was a great coach for the pitchers when he pitched with the Dodgers. He was a great encourager and would work on different pitches with them. And so I think if you do slide in some of these younger guys, you already have the 3 young guys in the rotation, you slide in a Silseth, it could be really beneficial for him as he continues his major league career.
Someone asked Gooby on Twitter, they asked Mark Gubaza, hey, are you concerned about 4 lefties in this rotation? And he said, I was part of a World Series team with 3 lefties in the rotation, and that was a 5-man rotation. Actually, I'm not 100% if it was a 5-man. I know that that's kind of more of a modern thing, but Gooby went to the World Series and won that with 3 lefties in the rotation. So it doesn't sound like he's too concerned, but it would be nice to have another righty. Does this add a wrinkle to possibly moving like Sandoval or Suarez and getting a pitcher back that might be a righty? Did you think about that?
Didn't think about that until right now. And I don't know. That's hard. That's hard to consider. And I know that we want to make this team really great, but I think that with Sandoval, he's somebody that we got to hang on to for at least one more year. Right?
I agree.
Like, he is so good. And Detmers, don't you even talk about trading.
No, I think
Detmers.
he would stay. Yeah.
Now, Suarez, I like him. I think he could be a great trade piece, but it's going to be Suarez and somebody. It couldn't just be by himself. I think with Sandoval, like you could potentially maybe do a 1-for-1 swap.
I think
maybe it would be a 2-for-1 swap, but he's got ace potential.
Right.
And so I wouldn't let anybody come near him. So I think Tyler Anderson really solidifies this starting rotation. If you think back to last season, there were question marks about Syndergaard. There were some question marks about Lorenzen. There's no question marks about Tyler Anderson. I mean, if there are questions, it's kind of like, well, can he replicate what he did? But he has shown some consistency.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into some of the specifics of what he's done to improve. I really like this move, Johnny. And I really think that Perry is pounding his chest and saying, Angel fans, Trout, Ohtani, man, we're ready for you. We're going to make sure that this is going to be a great season in 2023.
Tuesday was a great day for me, man. I got a new puppy. I posted that one on Twitter, and now we got this free agent signing of Tyler Anderson that I called it. I'm pretty happy about that. And not to brag, but I did post the flex on Twitter. So again, we got Tyler Anderson to the Halos, a 3-year deal, $39 million. He's going to be in the rotation for the next 3 years. And we're very excited about that here on Locked On Angels.
Well, coming up on Locked On Angels, now that we got Tyler, are we on a first name basis with him? Can I do that? Now that we got Ty, what will the Angels do next? We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, Locked On Angels is brought to you by our friends at Simply Safe. If you've thought about securing your home with home security, but you've been putting it off, now's the time to listen up. Right now, Locked On Angel listeners can order the #1 Simply Safe home security system for 50% off, Johnny. 50% off. This is their biggest offer of the year. It's their Christmas present to you, and you don't want to miss it. Here's why getting security right now, is so important. During the holiday season, property crimes like burglaries and package thefts, they spike nationally, which is why our friends at Simply Safe are offering 50% off of their award-winning security system so that more families can feel safe and secure this holiday season. You can order your Simply Safe system for half off today and enjoy advanced security and greater peace of mind this holiday season. When you order those gifts, you know that they're actually going to make them into your house and not get taken away, right? Simply Safe is a whole home security system with advanced sensors for every room, for every window, for every door. They've got HD security cameras inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion that alerts you only when a threat is real, which I really appreciate. Even have hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. With a top-rated Simply Safe app, you can be safe and you can have it be convenient and easy for you. You can stay in complete control of your system anytime, anywhere. You can arm, disarm, unlock for guests, access to your cameras. You can adjust your settings. In emergency situations, they have 24/7 professional monitoring agents that use Fast Protect technology, which only is exclusive to Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify if a threat is real. And then they can prioritize your safety, maybe police response if necessary. And it costs less than $1 a day. It's less than half the price of ADT's traditional professionally installed system. Simply Safe was named the best home security system of 2022 by U.S. News and World Report. That's their 3rd year in a row. Simple flex from them. So don't miss your chance to save big this holiday season. And this is the system that we recommend at Locked On. 50% off your new Simply Safe security system. Visit simplysafe.com/LockedOnMLB today. Their biggest discount of the year. Don't wait. That's simplysafe.com/LockedOnMLB. And remember, there's no safe like Simply Safe.
We want to thank you for making Locked On Angels your first listen today. And for your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the biggest games that matter the most and the biggest stories in sports, you can go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today is available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
On Tuesday, the Angels signed Tyler Anderson to a 3-year, $39 million deal, $13 million a year. Johnny thought it would be for 14. It was 13. So Perry used that coupon to get $1 million off. Mm-hmm. But here's the question, John. What Tyler Anderson will we actually get to root for? And the reason why that's an important question is because the 2022 Tyler Anderson was awesome. He was phenomenal. Here's his stats. 15-5, a 2.57 ERA, 178 and 2/3 innings pitched, 138 Ks. He had a whip of 1.0, which is really great. Now, before the Dodgers, he had 6 seasons, and his average ERA was 5.59. Now, that was inflated by one bad year in 2019. So without that year, his ERA, his career ERA was 4.36. His win-loss record was 29 and 38. He did pitch in Colorado, so those numbers will be inflated a little bit. But he did have a 1.3 whip, and he averaged 135 Ks. Now, let's do a deeper dive, Johnny, on the Tyler Anderson of last season compared to seasons before.
Yeah.
And you're the deeper dive guy on this podcast. So give me some stats. I need some really specific stats from you.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern that I've seen so far from Angel fans is, can Tyler Anderson live up to what he was with the Dodgers? And
Yeah.
number one, I think, yes, again, you go through that Dodger system, you come out a new man, and hopefully he can bring the things that he learned from the Dodgers over to his time with the Angels. And there's some stats that I want to share with you that kind of back up that he is a new man and won't revert to the guy he was before 2022. There might be a little regression, and that tends to happen, especially with age. But I think we're in for a good version of Tyler Anderson. Here's some stats. In 2022, he was in the 98th percentile in exit velocity. So guys were not hitting the ball very hard. Again, 98th percentile in the hard hit and 86th percentile in barreling the ball. So he's not getting hit with the barrel of the bat from hitters. Hitters are not hitting the ball with the barrel of the bat very much against him. And then he had a 95% chase rate. And that got me intrigued. I thought, what put him in the 95th percentile for chase rate among the league? And the key to that answer, Mike, and the key to why Tyler Anderson is a new man now that he's been with the Dodgers is his changeup. It became his predominant put away pitch against hitters in 2022. He struck guys out and put them away 21.7% of the time. That was the most of any of his repertoire that he used, was the changeup to put guys away. In 2021, listen to this, the changeup had 28.2 inches of drop. So vertical movement from the changeup. We know that that is key for a changeup to have that vertical movement. That was less than it was 4.9 less than the rest of the league. League average, 4.9. His changeup had a drop of 28.2 inches. So the rest of the league had more inches dropping on their changeup.
Okay.
In 2022, that changed. It had a 34.8 inch drop vertically, and that was only -4 than league average. So just that was actually 0.4 less than league average. So you can see that the inches in vertical drop improved greatly with his changeup in 2022 with the Dodgers. So something changed with his changeup. He used it to put more batters away. He added more inches of drop to it, which increased the amount of batters he was able to put away. He's fooling guys, Mike. That chase rate, he's in the 95th percentile in chase rate. Now, this is another key stat. The expected batting average on his changeup in 2022 based on movement and spin rate. And again, the inches of drop, the inches of vertical movement, the inches of horizontal movement. All of that is tracked by Baseball Savant and StatCast. And when you put it in the computer and it comes out the other side, it gives you the expected batting average based on all of that movement.
Okay.
The reality of his changeup, the batting average was 170. Batters were getting 170 on his changeup, and the expected batting average was actually 190. So he outperformed the computer's expectations of the expected batting average on his changeup. Get this, in 2021, the expected batting average was 251 when he was with the Mariners for that short time. And the reality of his changeup ended up being a 250 average. So the computer was right. And think about that, 60 points higher than the 2022 expected batting average.
Yeah.
And in reality, it was 80 points higher. So he has greatly improved his changeup. Yeah. And I think that's the key to Tyler Anderson. He added inches of vertical movement, and it's fooling batters. And I think that's something he'll be able to carry into 2022 with his time with the Halos.
Now, Angel fans, if you want to see this just after you're done watching or listening on YouTube, just search Ian Anderson against the Angels, and you can watch highlights from the game when he was pitching against us.
Because you mean Tyler Anderson?
Sorry. Did I say Ian Anderson?
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
you made that mistake the last time we talked about Tyler Anderson.
I'm just so excited, John. I'm just
Eric
so excited.
Timms and Marcus Timms. I'm always going to mix those guys up.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't point it out, nobody would have known. Tyler Anderson, they will, because they'll search for Ian Anderson on YouTube instead of Tyler Anderson.
Who's this guy?
Look for Tyler Anderson on YouTube, and you can actually watch the game that he pitched against the Halos, and you'll see a lot of pitches like moving away from the batters, dropping. You'll see what John just described with your eyes right in front of you. And that's the Tyler Anderson that I think that we are going to get next season. And if that's the guy that we get, Johnny, I'm stoked. I'm fired up, so much so that I got his name wrong.
So what can we expect from Tyler Anderson as a Halo in 2023? Mike, I think he can sit somewhere between 13 and 15 wins. He got 15 with the Dodgers. I think the Angels have the capability of providing him the run support if the offense gets healthy. We saw that issue with Patrick Sandoval, of course. But in a 6-man rotation, potentially, I'm sure 13 to 15 wins could be expected for Tyler Anderson. How many innings do you think he'll go?
I think because he did 178, I mean, he can land probably in between 160 and 180. I think that the reasonable expectation would be at least 150. And if he stays healthy, then I think that he's going to be in the 170, 180 range. And wouldn't it be awesome if he ends up eating 200 innings? Like, that would be so great, especially following Shohei in the starting rotation. And I mean, he had a low ERA, a 2.5 ERA last season. Reasonable expectation, like say he regresses a little bit, would be a low 3, maybe to a high 3 ERA, which we'll take that. We'll take that every single time. Our buddy Andrew from Angels Top Plays actually tweeted out a stat that showed second half ERA for the Angels, and then he put Tyler Anderson in that rotation, and it was all 2s, John. Everybody was hitting 2s except for Suarez, who was in the low 3s, and he really improved. And so this starting rotation looks strong. And to have somebody in that rotation after Shohei, who is expected to win double digits, I mean, having somebody who's going to eat up 200 innings or so and win 13 to 15 games is only going to set the Angels up for a great season, in my opinion.
Hey, Locked On Angels is brought to you by Bet Online. You guys know that betonline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, and news and analysis. Might want to check it out now that they've signed Tyler Anderson, where the Halos sit on their World Series potential on Bet Online. In fact, as the offseason goes on and more teams sign players, you might see some of those odds change for the World Series contenders. So keep up with Bet Online. Also, you can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. Football, basketball, soccer, esports, so much more. They've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, obviously, because you're here, you can find those at BetOnline as well. You can hear them talk about all the betting lines and all the stats and information that you need. And they're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So all you have to do is head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. That's betonline.net. Remember, BetOnline is where the game starts.
Well, now that the Angels have signed Tyler Anderson, we have 2 questions. The first question is this, John, I'd love your thoughts. What does this move communicate to Michael Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and you and I and all the Angel fans who love this team so much?
They got it done quickly. They got it done early in the offseason. It was an area of need. Mike, I tweeted this out. If you remember correctly, this is the first multi-year deal a starting pitcher has received from the Angels since 2013 with Joe Blanton. Joe frickin' Blanton was the last starting pitcher to get a multi-year deal with the Angels. He got a 2-year deal. And to me, this communicates that I don't know if Artie's in charge anymore. I think Perry is getting to make the decisions that he wants to make because Artie has been so averse to signing starting pitching for more than 1 year. And don't get me wrong, they signed guys like Matt Harvey and Trevor Cahill and those guys. And you want those guys on 1-year deals because you don't want them around for forever.
Right.
But because they were limited, seemingly, they were limited to 1-year deals, I feel like that's what incentivized them to go after guys like Cahill and Harvey and the like.
Yeah.
But now this 3-year deal kind of tells me that the Angels are going to be competitive this offseason. I don't think they stop here. I think that they need to win now, and they need to show Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani that they want to win now. So I think that this communicates a great precedent for the offseason, and I think Perry Minasian is going to get to make the moves that he needs to make. Look, we talk about it all the time. He addressed the bullpen issues last year. He did. He addressed them. Now, did Aaron Loop live up to his .95 ERA? No. Did Ryan Tepera live up to his past successes? Not really.
Nah, bro.
Did Archie Bradley? I'm not even going to talk about Archie Bradley because I like him a lot. But he hurt his elbow falling over a fence.
Yeah.
But Perry addressed the issues, and that was the bullpen. And they didn't live up to their expectations. And that, to me, meant a lot last season because it showed me that he knows where the holes are, and he's communicated where this year's holes are, which are depth and probably left field and infield. And so I think that he has his sights set on fixing the issues that the Angels have. This move gives me a lot more confidence than I had when we first came into the offseason and what it was going to be like, especially with the ownership transition. He got a 3-year deal. That's hasn't happened in 10 years. It's literally been 10 years. The offseason was 2012 when we signed that Blow Janton. You could say that. That Joe Blanton contract. And there you go, trademark, Blow Janton. And it's been 10 years. And so this gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah. All right. So let me do a little rapid fire at you right now. What's the next move? Another starter, outfielder, shortstop, ready, set, go.
Strike when the iron's hot. Get that left fielder. I'm ready for it. I don't think
who is it?
Man, is it Benintendi? You know who I like is Will Myers. I think that we should talk about Will Myers a little bit more in depth because he can play first base and he can play the outfield. So he might add the versatility that we need. I need to get into his stats more to see what that would look like. Andrew Benintendi obviously is at the top of the list for left fielders. Jock Peterson just was offered the qualifying offer.
He did accept it as
Giants.
Of Tuesday.
Did he accept it? Okay, I want to make sure I had that right.
Yep.
So he's going back to the Giants, so he's off the table. Yeah, left fielder I think is the next way to go. And possibly bring back Lorenzen. I think that rounds out your 6-man rotation if you want it. And if not, see how Griffin Canning's doing because Angels Top Plays, Andrew from Angels Top Plays tweeted out this great series of clips from Griffin Canning, and I forgot how nasty some of his pitches are.
Yeah, I think that if they do bring back Lorenzen, it would be a smart move, and it gives Griffin Canning some time to become the pitcher that I know that he can become.
Sure.
And then if there's some injuries, you've got some depth there, and it gives Griffin
100%.
Canning time to really work on all of those things. The guy hasn't pitched in almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So he really needs to have some time to work on his pitches. And I agree with you. I think the next move is going to be an outfielder. I like Will Myers. I thought that was an interesting thought there. And then, John, there's been a rumor that Trey Turner possibly signs with us. I don't know if it's clickbait. If it was clickbait, I clicked.
Yeah,
John.
I certainly clicked. Yeah. Jim Bowden from The Athletic speculating that we make the surprise move of the offseason, get Trey Turner, and then once the team is sold, Theo Epstein comes in and is running things for the Angels and keeps Perry Minasian on as GM. I liked that prediction, Jim.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
So all in all, Mike, we're very happy about this Tyler Anderson signing. We think that he is going to continue to be the guy that he was last season based on the changeup improvement. And the Angels really showed us that they mean business by finally getting a starting pitcher on a 3-year deal. I think Perry is pushing the buttons behind the scenes for this offseason.
Well, thank you for making Locked On Angels your first listen today. And remember, we're always going to be here with all the information that you need. If you need like a quick bite and you can't get access to us right away, then go to Locked On Sports Today, because this podcast is going to share some of the biggest stories of the day, instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Then come back to Locked On Angels and we'll break it all down for you. Locked On Sports Today is available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We know you guys have a lot of thoughts about this move, and we heard some of them yesterday when it happened. But if you have any questions or comments about the Tyler Anderson signing, get at us on Twitter at Locked On Angels. It's the best way to reach us. And the other best way to reach us is, of course, at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll be in the comments below the YouTube video if you're watching there. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Well, if there isn't any more breaking news, which if there is, that'll be exciting. But if there isn't, we're actually going to have the conversation about why there are 13 reasons the Angels could actually make the playoffs and could have actually made the playoffs this last season. So we're going to talk about wins. We're going to talk about how to get into the playoffs. It's going to be a great conversation if there's no breaking news. Right. But if there is, we'll talk about that. So join us tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
86 wins to get to the playoffs. We had 73. Where'd the other 13 go? We'll tell you about it tomorrow. We're looking forward to that conversation. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
This is going to do it for this edition of Locked On Angels. I'm all tongue-tied. I'm so excited. We will see you right back here tomorrow. Thank you for being here with us.